Look, I think you should be very proud of me for even making New Year's resolutions. Don't also expect them to be ambitious. Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia and it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life, and I'm feeling a little bit exhausted actually. But enough of my personal problems, why don't I simply add to them by telling you what I'm planning for my reading year 2025. I'm hyping this up a lot more than it deserves because my reading goals are actually manageable. Let's start with what I'm not doing in 2025, and that is setting a numbers goal for how many books I want to read. It's not even that I feel a particular pressure from a number. I'm not that easily intimidated. It's more that a number does nothing to actually motivate me. It definitely used to motivate me, and I loved seeing the little bar on Goodreads fill up over the course of a year. But for a few years now, it's simply lost its appeal. I've not really used Goodreads for ages, and I don't feel a particular need to get back on that. I think I'm just generally getting fed up of social media networks and of sharing everything online, she says on her YouTube channel. But you know what I mean, even on this channel, I've gotten a lot less personal in the last year or so and a lot more focused on books and my opinions on books. I'd like to keep it that way. So I'm not setting myself a numbers goal. I've gone off Goodreads. But that leaves me with one problem, and that's that at the end of a year, I don't really know what I've read and what I've thought about what I've read. So my first resolution for 2025 is to keep a log of my reading. No idea yet what shape that log is going to take, though I suspect it will involve the ancient technology known as pen and paper. I'm a bit of a basic bitch, and so I've been using these fancy notebooks for years and years in the often fruitless attempt to organize my life. They are the Leuchtturm 1917 hardbacks with dotted, you know what? It doesn't matter. If you're into notebooks, you will already know them, and if not, you could not care less about what notebook I'm using. The point is, I've just bought myself a shiny new notebook, which costs more than a book with actual words in it, and I'm planning to get every penny's worth of use and enjoyment out of it. These specifics are yet to be decided. I'm not much of a calligraphist. My handwriting is awful. I can't draw at all. And I don't have much of an eye for aesthetics, so chances are this is going to be functional rather than pretty. Hopefully with this, I won't forget what I read or what I thought about it. But there's another resolution that's going to help me with that. You know, if I actually stick to it. So my second reading goal for 2025 is to review every single book I read for this channel. I know what you think, this sounds like a lot of work. To which I counter, it's only a lot of work if I actually read a significant number of books in 2025. In the past few years, my reading has generally slowed down. I can't tell you by how much exactly because, as I said earlier, I have not been logging my reading properly. But I can tell you that in 2024, I only reviewed 4 books for Spinster's Library. And I'm not proud of that number. To give you a bit of insight on the behind the scenes of BookTube and touch upon something that's maybe not often discussed in polite society, review videos don't get a lot of attention, broadly speaking. They don't get a lot of views, they don't get a lot of comments, they don't generate a lot of revenue. So as far as the almighty YouTube algorithm is concerned, they're practically worthless. Let me show you what it looks like when a video does not do well on YouTube. My analytics page here shows the relative performance of the last 10 videos I uploaded at any given time. Here you can see the most recent one, a video essay about why men don't read Jane Austen, which I'm ridiculously proud of, by the way. And you can see that out of the last 10 videos I published at time of recording, this one ranked 3rd. Right down the bottom, on places 9 and 10, you can see my review videos. YouTube is very helpfully telling me that no one wants to watch those. And in that context, it's easy to forget that book review videos are worth a lot more than what YouTube thinks about them. As a viewer, I love it when I look for a review video for a really obscure or unpopular book and I find exactly one. When there's that one person that 7 years ago read the same book I just finished and made a video about it. And the thing is, I read books sometimes that aren't exactly smash hits of classic literature. There's a few books where I'm pretty sure I've got the only review video about them on YouTube. For example, my review of an obscure but extremely fun Victorian classic with the title Gloriana or the Revolution of 1900 by Florence Dixie. The book is nearly forgotten. The video has been up for over 5 years. It gets maybe 10 views a month. It has made me a grand total of €4.92. By all parameters, this is an absolutely worthless waste of broadband. But to me it isn't. And to the 10 people a month who watch it, it probably isn't. I enjoyed reading the book, I enjoyed making the video, and I like that mine is the only one people will find if they search for this novel on YouTube. Sometimes that's easy to forget when YouTube's measures of success are a lot more profit-oriented. The second and more personal value of book review videos are that they too are a log of my reading. I usually make a review video shortly after I finish a book, while it's still fresh in my mind. Except for the rare occasion where I feel the urge to review an old favorite, in which case I write and record the review video after a reread. Review videos are snapshots of my opinions about books at a specific point in time. And that's something that most people don't have unless they put time and effort into writing down their thoughts, either online or offline. I can go back to any book I've reviewed and relive my thoughts about it at the time, in real time. The other thing is that making reviews forces me to read more consciously. I'm more aware of my own reactions to a book if I know that at the end of it I have to put them into words. Instead of just going, ew, I'm hating this, I have to actually figure out what I hate and why I hate it. Because if by the end of a book I can't verbalize that feeling, there's no point in making a review video at all, or it would just me screaming boo for 10 minutes straight down the camera. And the algorithm would most certainly not like that. So yeah, reviewing every single book I read might be a lot of work, but on balance, I think it's worth it. Now, this next resolution is one I'm really quite excited about. At the same time, it's one that I'll probably have to remind myself of more than any of the others. I want to treat myself more. Yes, it's 2025 and I'm only now jumping on the self-care bandwagon. The thing is, I've always been a bit of a cheapskate when it comes to books. And everything else too, really, but that's not relevant for the purposes of this video. Most of the book on my shelves are from the charity shop. I adore shopping in charity shops, really taking the time to browse and hunt and dig and find treasure. There's a satisfaction to finding an absolute gem of a book and paying peanuts for it. And I'm fairly sure every single person watching this video knows exactly that feeling. By doing that, I've developed a bit of a taste for vintage editions of books. They just don't make them like they used to in the 70s anymore. I adore my 20th century paperbacks. The trashier, the better. However, in the past, I've pretty much exclusively bought cheap books from the charity shop. I only bought new books when I absolutely couldn't find them secondhand, and in only very specific cases, like buying specific editions of favorite books. But there are obviously also ways of buying secondhand books online. And sometimes there are editions online that I'd love to own but don't buy because it feels frivolous. I don't need to be that stingy when it comes to buying books. I can afford to spend 5 or even 10 euros on a fun vintage edition of a book that I want to read, rather than go for a less nice one just because it's cheap and readily available. I'm not talking about spending hundreds of euros on collector's items because I don't have that kind of cash, but there is stages between dropping a month's income on a rare sought after antique and spending 50 cents at the charity shop for a horrible edition of a book just because it's there. I need to treat myself more to nice editions of books I want to own. And nice can mean anything from brand new straight from the bookshop to vintage and fancy to pulpy and trashy. There's still space on these bookshelves behind me, space that deserves to be filled. Speaking of these bookshelves behind me, my next resolution, it's not really a reading resolution, more of a book-related endeavor that I want to do, and it is to spruce up these bookshelves. That means I want to clear it out and then do something nice with this back wall. Ooh, here. Which is currently a very flimsy plain white sheet of MDF or something like that. I haven't decided what exactly I want to do with it yet. Either paint it or find some peel and stick wallpaper or vinyl decals or something along those lines. Just something to add a bit of color, maybe something patterned, maybe something dark to this shelf. If you have any suggestions, do let me know. I'm not planning on doing anything with the actual front of the shelf with the wood, because I like how that looks. I just think that back wall of the shelf could do with a little bit of color and a little bit of interest. Right, we're nearly at the end. There's one more resolution that I've noted down here on my laptop, and I genuinely can't remember what I was trying to say with that. It says, and I quote, "Make some space on my TBR." And I have no idea what the hell that's supposed to mean. Make some space for what? More books? Why not just write buy more books on there then? Or did I mean that I want to unhaul my TBR? I have no idea what I was trying to say with that, but I thought for the purpose of completion, I should mention that I also plan to make space on my TBR. Well, I suppose that's that then. My 2025 reading plans. Keep your fingers crossed, friends. I hope you all had a wonderful start to the new year and that all your reading resolutions are going to be a piece of cake. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.